Done?
Sam has received the message there at FedEx office, and she was familiar with the names, so
Yeah.
she knows the job, and they're going to print it.
Wonderful. Very nice. I'm glad you told me that that's not what it's going to look like when it comes out. Hello, Maheshkari, how are you?
Good.
Good.
Very good.
Excellent.
I have a lovely Govinda test strip of what they call cliché from a big picture, but that's all it took. Just nice.
Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Nimittam manaschakshuradipravrittau
Nimittam manaschakshuradipravrittau
nirastakhilopadhirakashakalpaha
nirastakhilopadhirakashakalpaha
ravirlokacheshta nimittam yathayaha
ravirlokacheshta nimittam yatayaha sanidhyopalabdhisvarupo hamatma
yamagnyushnavan nityabodhasvarupaha
yamanyushnavan nityabodhasvarupaha
manaschakshuradīnyabodhatmakāni
manaschakshuradīnyabodhatmakāni
pravartanta ashritya nishkampamekam
pravartanta ashritya nishkampamekam sanidhyopalabdhisvarupo hamatma
mukhabhasako darpane drishyamano
mukhabhasako darpane drishyamano
mukhatvat prithaktvena naivasti vastu
mukhatvat prithaktvena naivasti vastu
chidabhasako dhishu jivopi tadvat
chidabhasako dhishu jivopi tadvat sanidhyopalabdhisvarupo hamatma
yatha darpana bhava abhasahanau
yatha darpana bhava abhasahanau
mukham vidyate kalpanahinamekam
mukham vidyate kalpanahinamekam
tathādhi viyoge nirabhasako yaha
tathādi viyoge nirabhasako yaha
sanithyopalabdhisvarupo hamatma manaschakshuradhirviyuktasvayam yaha
manaschakshuradhirviyuktasvayam yaha
manaschakshuradhirmanaschakshuradhihi
manaschakshuradhirmanaschakshuradhihi
manaschakshuradhiragamyasvarupaha
manaschakshuradhiragamyasvarupaha
sanithyopalabdhisvarupo hamatma ya eko vibhati svatah shuddha chetaha
Ya eko vibhati svata shuddha cetaha
prakashasvarupopi nanevadhishu
prakasha swarupopi nanevadishu
sharavodakastho yatha bhanurekaha
Sharavodakasto yatha bhanurekaha
sanityopaladhi swarupohamatma yathaneka chakshuhu
Yataneka chakshuhu
prakasho ravirna
prakasho ravirna
kramena prakashikarote prakashyam
Kramena prakashi karoti prakashyam
anekadhiyo
Anekadhiyo
yastathaika prabodhaha
Yastathaika prabodaha
sanityopaladhi swarupohamatma. Seventh verse. It is reiterating what was already said in verse number 3, I think, verse number 3, so reiterating the same thing, and verse number 3 and also the one that just went, verse number 6, where we had the same sun occupying 1,000,000 pots of water. How many suns? One sun. And that was this image that there is a water gata sun. Gata means that which has as though entered the water. So there is water gata sun, a sun that has as though entered the water, and then there is the sun that has not entered the water. How many suns? One sun, unless we are talking of SON. Yeah. If you're talking of SUN, only one sun. Yeah, that's all there is. And so this water, the sun obtaining in the water, this was already talked about in verse number 6. And so here, this is a expanding on that, because that was talked about in verse number 6 already in a short way, and this is going to unfold that a little more and go into the nuances of how this, what is involved in this projecting of this one into as though many, what that takes care of. And in verse number 3, what was talked about, that what was stressed in verse number 3, a related thing, is that there is the reflection and there is the face. How many faces are there? One. So the singularity of the face in relation to the so-called reflection was reiterated. And here also in verse number 6, the singularity of the sun was reiterated. But then the manyness of the projection was also taken in verse number 6. And then the many and varied projections, how can it come out of the same Atma, is answered in verse number 7 in a little more, detail, with a little more elbow room. And so we'll also take the time to do that. And so, yatha, in which way, verse number 7, we'll just see the Anvaya first. Yatha means in just as, in which way, and aneka chakshuhu. Aneka chakshuhu is a very interesting compound, Eka means what? One. Aneka means not one. We will just go this thing. We are denying one. So not one. Okay? Chakshu means eye. Aneka chakshu means?
Not one.
Not one eye. That means many eyes. Who has many eyes? That is one way. That is the most direct way of resolving this compound. If it is a compound that is a descriptive compound, a compound that describes a person, right? So who is this person? a person with many eyes. Like Indra's wife, Shati, has 1,000 eyes all over her body. All she has is eyes, Yeah. So, you can call her Aneka Chakshu. Yeah, correct? But that's not what is intended here. What is here, it's a Bahuvrihi compound, which means that the one who is like the many eyes, like the eyes for many people. Yeah, so the many becomes a karma, people. So the one who is like the eye for all people, who is that? The sun. Yeah. So Aneka Chakshuhu Prakashaha, with, they are in opposition. And so it is, even though it's tempting to say that the sun is many-eyed because it sees many things, no. The sun becomes the eyes for many. That which becomes the eyes for the many, that whose light becomes the eyes, a tool for seeing for many. Because without the sun, we will not be able to see anything. And to bless this verse, the sun has come out today. It always happened. Last time also when we discussed the sun, first time it came. And so, this is what it is. So, that which performs the function of being the eyesight for many. That's what is, many eyes. Whose light gives the gift of sight for many. And why not all? Why many? Because we know that there are deep sea creatures and there are creatures that see without eyes, and in the deep sea life there are different ways of seeing where the sun doesn't even come. Even recently they are finding out new funny looking species are being photographed, and it's amazing what all this, how much we don't know is really amazing, really. And one of them looks like a table lamp, just like this, It goes like this, it looks, but it has no eyes, it looks. It really looks like a gooseneck table lamp. Some kind of a squid, highly developed squid. And so, that's why it says many. And there are other ways of seeing, like plants see without eyes. So we are just talking of eyes here. So just like the sunlight, Ravihi Prakashaha, which the sunlight, what does the sun, which is all light, and what does the light of the sun do? The light of the sun becomes the cause for sight for many, functions as the eyes for many. That's why Aneka Chakshuhu. And then what? Then Ravihi, Na. What Na? So it doesn't do that? No. It's negating what is going to come now. Na prakashi karoti. Oh, does not light up. What? Prakashi karoti. Chvi pratyaya. Chvi is a kind of a suffix which makes the verb, it's like, supposing if we, in English we have fy, yogify, means make into yoga. So here, prakashify, that is chvi. Yeah. Cha goes away and va also goes away, so there's only actually e. Yeah. So chvi is a suffix. So it just e. Prakashi karoti, bhasmi karoti, means it makes it into ashes. It makes it lights up. It has the function and the only function of lighting up. It prakashofies the entire universe. But here it says na prakashi karoti, means does not prakashify. What does it mean, does not prakashify? Does not light up? Kramena, sequentially. Lights up, how? Not sequentially. But that means what? Does not light up? Does not light up one by one, means lights up at the same time. Yeah. So, many eyes see. That's why the compound gains beauty here. Many eyes see when the sun is present, correct? When sunlight is present, many eyes see. And does I A see a little bit before I B and then I C and I D? No. All of them see whatever there is to be seen in the presence of light at once, simultaneously. And the sun doesn't favor one pair of eyes over another. You know? It doesn't say, oh, this is a dharmic person. Let me make this fellow see sunrise 2 minutes earlier than this Duryodhana type person. The sun does not say. And if there is a group of people reading Bhagavad Gita in one, under one tree, in the light of the sun, and under the next tree, there is another group planning a bank robbery, and having a blueprint of how to dig tunnel to go inside the bank and how to disable all the laser, those invisible, what are they called? You see it in
infrared light.
that sci-fi movie type, infrared lights, how to do that, Cat gymnastics you need to go under those James Bond type things. You have all these things. And so there is a group that is thinking of how to cut the wires that lead there and how to dig a tunnel to go inside. The sun does not say, of course I'm going to withdraw all the lights, I'm going to bring my friend, brother Cloud, to reign over their plans over in this tree. Maybe maybe Indra can drop one Vajra. Vajra means lightning, thunder, which is his astra, his weapon. Maybe Indra can drop a bolt of lightning there, and here I am going to shine because they are doing a good thing by studying the Gita. No. It brings that to light, it brings this to light as well. And that is what is talked about here. We'll get back to that more. And so na kramena, so neither is it sequential and neither is it based on the kind of things that you want to see. Oh, I want to have darshan of the deity of, in Badrinath, so I'm going to have sunlight. And somebody else says also wants to have darshan of what? The local mafia don. Okay, there is no sunlight. No, it's not dependent on the nature of your pursuit, neither is it dependent on some kind of a sequential lighting up of the universe or the lighting up of the eyes in this case. All eyes are lit up at once when the sun blesses the firmament. And so, then what? Tatha. Tatha is not even there, it is there. See, tathaika prabodha. Tatha plus eka prabodha. So that tatha has to be brought in the front. Tatha, in the same way, what? Eka prabodha. That single source of awareness, which also shines just like the sun. That single consciousness. That's why ekaha is stressed here. Eka prabodha, not aneka prabodha. And you see, here is the contrast between aneka chakshuhu and eka prabodha. There is a very beautiful contrast there. The sun is the light for many eyes, and that eka prabodha, that one consciousness, is the light for the sun itself. That's going to be said here. It's very deep. So, tatha and aneka eka prabodha. Similarly, in the same manner, the one prabodha, the one consciousness, the single source of awareness, what does it do? Aneka dhiyaha, many buddhis, good buddhi, bad buddhi, subuddhi, kubuddhi, durbuddhi, every buddhi. Every buddhi, everybody, every buddhi, it lights up. You have to do anuvritti of prakashi karoti, because this is a verse. They are not going to repeat the same thing. That prakashi karoti has to be brought down as well. So, tatha, in the same manner, eka prabodha. What eka prabodha? That one single source of awareness from where all existence and where all truth come from, lights up many buddhis. How does it light up? One buddhi at a time. No. Because then nobody can have a conversation. Forget Vedanta classes. Think of a conversation. Hello, how are you? Because only the hello buddhi, the buddhi that is saying hello is lit up. Therefore, it is able to speak. So it says, hello, how are you? And the other buddhi is waiting to be lighted up. Then after this buddhi stops talking, then after a long time, because there are so many buddhis, and there's only one light, so many demands. Then the other buddhi is lit up. I think I'm fine, assuming that this was still heard and remembered. It couldn't even be heard, and actually it wasn't heard. So the other person will say, how are you? And his buddhi stops lighting up. Then her buddhi lights up. Then we cannot even have a conversation, much less any kind of a sequential series of actions, much less thoughts, much less, Vedanta classes or research papers which require some kind of a train of thought. There is no train. Everybody will be blink, blink, waiting for the big light to come and, a light upon the buddhi. Not possible, correct? And so here a very beautiful idea is unfolded, and that idea is that we must not conceptualize this light, which is going to be told later, is the one that even lights up the sun. But that's going to come later here. We should not confuse this light as, because see, we come from this, the human beings come from this scarcity mentality. There's only this much. And this I have to quickly guard from other people, always furtive, like non-vegetarian animals, Really. You look at cheetah, you look at hyena, you look at lion, you look at tiger, all the carnivores. They will eat a little bit, whatever carcass is in front, and then quickly look. Very shady, will not make eye contact. Because they are constantly, they know what they are doing, correct? And each one is in fear of a predator. Because it itself is a predator. So if you are predating, you are predatory in nature, all the others are also, there to make you their dinner. This is something which is there. So they're all always wary, always on guard and shifty-eyed and won't make eye contact. Nervous, beings, these non-vegetarian animals. And then you see the vegetarian animals, the zebras, the donkeys, the cows, the horses, the elephants, peacefully grazing. Of course they'll run away if there is a threat, especially from the aforementioned ones. They will run, that they are wired to survive and take care of themselves. But they will not avoid looking and be all this shifty-eyed. Very, very interesting. So, there is this prevalent feeling. And what is that feeling? That this light of consciousness is finite, just like these carnivorous animals. Because the number of carcasses are finite, And therefore what? I have to have the first, and also my strength is finite. I have to kill this, and when I have killed this, I have to have what is called the lion's share, meaning I have to be the first one to eat. That's what is called lion's share. And then it leaves the leftovers for the others. So this is what I have to do, because it's all scarce. And so this scarcity buddhi, this carnivorous scarcity buddhi, which the human being also has, whether they are not carnivores or not, the buddhi is carnivorous, like, I have to protect this yoga kshema person, protecting yoga kshema from everybody else. What is yoga kshema? Huh? Yoga kshema, the desires that one has, ragadveshas, but not just ragadveshas, pursuits. Pursuits based on ragadveshas, you can say. Yoga kshema, security based pursuit, fear based pursuits, yoga kshemas. And so one has to protect the yoga kshemas, otherwise somebody will take them away. And this whole survival, mentality that is there makes a person think. When you come to Vedanta, then the question comes, how can this one consciousness, it must be lighting up one at a time, because of course it is scarce. Of course, it can only do so much. Because we think of it as a light bulb, 50 watts, 100 watts, okay, after that what, After that what? So then you can't, envisage. After that, okay, floodlights, that the things that, advertise there is some game or something, you see it in the sky, okay. But there is a limit to how much light there is. And so we also think the tendency is to not be able to understand how something can light up everything at once. And so here this is dispelled by giving a beautiful example of the sun. And what does the sun do? Na kramena prakashi karoti. There is no krama here. Krama means an order. And that's why I use dharma and adharmic activities. So that could be one order based on the kinds of activities. And another order could be based on how much punya one has. Right? Somebody who has lot of punya gets little more, atma electricity. No. In fact, that one alone lights up all the thoughts in all the intellects at once without undergoing any change. Just like the sun lights up all activities and is the eyes, is the sight for many eyes without becoming the eyes, without becoming either the seer or the seen. Can you see that in connection with the sun? Neither seer nor seen. The sun does not become a seer. Sun just is the lighter, prakashifies everything. So the lighter upper of everything. Yeah. And then what? The sun does not become the seer. It just enables the seer to see. In the presence of light, things that need to be seen, the objects of sight, come to light. Right? And so similarly, this eka prabodha, the one and only consciousness. Eka means not one consciousness. That means there will be another one somewhere else waiting. No. If you have a devices, one you are typing on or doing something and the other one is being recharged. Correct? A spare battery, spare recharge, spare. Here there is no spare consciousness that is being plugged in and getting recharged while this consciousness is lighting it up. There is no sense of finitude here. And you don't need a spare consciousness, because then that spare consciousness will become the consciousness of this consciousness, and when that spare becomes, sparse, then where are you going to go? So there is only, eka prabodha means single source of awareness. And what is that source that makes me aware of, something like even a flower? Flower is, who is saying? Oh, the mouth is saying. Really, the mouth started to speak on its own? Maybe that's why they call it motor mouth, No, mouth is not saying. The mind is saying. So the mind cognized the flower. Aha. So the mind is all in all? No. Well, never mind. But then there must be something else, because the mind itself becomes an object for me to say, today I am not remembering the name of the flower. What is this flower? Rose? No. Is it daisy? No. Something. Yeah. It sounds like the milk powder. What is that? Carnation. So some, association. So like this, supposing when I say I'm not remembering the name of this flower, but I'm getting immediately some association with milk powder, even though I don't want milk powder, suddenly I'm only remembering the milk powder, which is a brand. And that means what? That the mind itself is finite. The mind itself, it becomes an object. When I say these days I'm not remembering anything, what is wrong with me? So when I say that means what? The mind has become the object and the I constantly remains the subject, and the light of this I, this ever-present consciousness, shines on the mind that works, bringing it to light, as in this is carnation, shines also equally on the mind that doesn't work and says da, ma, sounds like karma, no, Car what? Car who? Even the mind that is struggling to grasp the concept of this flower is also equally brilliantly lit. This is so beautiful. And at once. So let's say that now let's split into two. Neither literally nor figuratively, just metaphorically. So let's say there are two people with the same flower. One of them is cognizing the flower and the other one is suffering from the non-cognition of the flower, or rather is unable to name the flower. Which is blessed by the light of this consciousness? Both. It's not that first the awareness of the flower comes to light and then the non-awareness of the flower comes later to light. No. Both are immediately. And not sequentially, not chronologically illumined. Both are immediately coming to light. So therefore there is no such thing as I don't know. There is no such thing as non-cognition. Just like there is no such thing as non-presence. You grasp the concept that there is no such thing as non-presence, correct? Why did you grasp it? Because I keep asking one question. What is that?
Are you here?
How did you grasp it? Because I keep asking this question. Are you here? Are you here? Are you here? Yes. Are you here? No. When you say no, what do you really say? Yes. You advertise your presence. Like the kitten, that sneaks in through the window and sees the milk on the counter, laps it up, but then just in case nobody should come and see it, it closes his eyes, shuts his eyes tight and is lapping up the milk. And it receives a nice whack with a rolled up newspaper and gets shooed out of the window. Oh, how did they find me out? I had closed my eyes. So really speaking, the ridiculousness of the ridiculousness of their being in non-presence you have grasped, correct? Now welcome to the ridiculousness of there being something which is non-knowing. There is nothing non-knowing. Even when I say I don't know, I know that I know is shining as I don't know. So when you grasp the concept of that presence, which is universal, which is nitya, which is always there, which is upalabdhi swarupa, which is in the shape and the form of the ever ready, ever present consciousness, awareness, which I recognize as the truth of myself, which is really myself. When you have understood the non-negatability of the presence, which is you have to also understand that this presence comes as a knowing presence. Yeah. That knowingness also cannot be divorced or removed from that presence. It's a knowing presence. So when you say I am here, you are corroborating that Sat. And when you say that I am here comes in the form of I know I am. When you say I know I am comes. Are you here? Yes. How do you know? My neighbor told me. Nobody says that. Because I can see myself in the mirror. No, nobody says that. Are you here? Yes. How do you know? I know because I am. How do you know you are? Because I know. How do you know? Because I am. What kind of an amness is it? It's a knowing amness. It's a knowing being. A being that cannot be separated from the knowing. Oh, but that all those don't knows. I don't know when. I don't know when I will gain clarity. I don't know when I will have my next meal. Both Laukika, Vaidika concerns. Spiritual and mundane concerns. I don't know when I will, become a master of all these texts. Especially Panini. I don't know when Is the next time I will have cake? All these concerns doesn't matter, When you say I don't know, there is a knowledge, a quiet knowledge, a quiet, non-competitive, non-dual knowledge that does not compete with the knowing or the not knowing of specific objects. And what is this knowledge then? It is the knowledge that upholds the subject, which is neither the knower, nor the known, nor the process of knowing. Oh, it's not the knower? No. It's not the known? No. It's not the means of knowledge? No. No pramana, no pramata, no prameya. If you want to sound fancy and put it in Sanskrit. Pramana, prameya, pramata gone. Knower, known, means of knowing, it's free of. So that means when I say I am the knower, finally I am rid of that Atma. Right? Because Atma is not the knower. Yes? So when I say I am the knower, am I free of Atma?
No.
Okay, no. Why? Just now I said, just now it was revealed, and you all nodded your heads. When I said that the Atma is neither knower nor known, nor the means of knowledge, and you said yes. Then who is the knower? Other than Atma, correct? No? Knower is Atma, but Atma is not the knower. Known is Atma, where else will the known go, poor thing? All there is Eka Prabodha. Everything has to come under this Eka. All the Anekas have to come under this Eka only. So, the knower, the knower is non-separate from Atma, but Atma is not a single knower. Correct? Yeah, it's the truth of that, it's the content of the knower. And then the known also cannot be separate from the Atma. Let's bring back the milk powder. And so when I say flower, carnation, is carnation outside of Atma? Cannot be outside of Atma, because all there is one Atma. And who is this I? The knower of carnation. Correct? Am I outside of Atma? No. But then, carnation is not Atma. Or we have to say it like this: carnation is Atma, Atma is not carnation. Every knower non-separate from Atma, but Atma is not a knower of a single flower, because then it will become, static rather than dynamic, and it will create a duality of the knower known. So it is that which spurs the mind. That's why Aneka Dhiyaha it is given. Aneka Dhiyaha. So it spurs the mind of the knower to articulate its connection with the object. Yeah, listen carefully, this is important. So the light of Atma spurs the mind of the knower to articulate that particular mind's connection with the object. So that is that knowing. So that is what is called the light of knowledge. So whether that relationship or that connection of the particular mind, the individual mind, with the object of knowledge could be, two ways. I know this object is known to me, or this object is not known to me. So when I say this object is not known to me, I am declaring a partial truth after splitting into the knower and the known, and only in relation to a particular thing that is yet of unknown origin to me. To me means here, dhiya, to this buddhi. So this buddhi, with reference to the buddhi, because the buddhi is tiny, I have told you, walnut sized, tiny buddhi. Even Einstein's buddhi is still tiny. And so therefore what? So the tiny buddhi, and the tiny antahkarna, because it is finite, can only say I know to this many objects at a particular time or in a particular lifespan, because the buddhi wears out. As you grow older, there are many more unknowns rather than knowns, correct? And so the buddhi's efficiency keeps wearing out, like shoes. And some shoes wear out more on this side, others wear out on that side. Depending on where you place the weight on the feet. There's all these signs over there. That too, some buddhis wear out only on certain sides. Selective wearing out. Some buddhis will remember everything except Panini. And some buddhis will only remember Panini. So like this, different kinds of wearing outs are there. So this buddhi which is constantly wearing out and is finite already to begin with, how many concepts and how many objects of knowledge can it grasp? Finite. Even though the objects of knowledge are aneka, out of that aneka, a few things here and there it grasps and tries to hold on to, right? But most of the time, this buddhi's relationship, don't talk of individual, just talk of buddhi. Otherwise, it's very difficult to understand this. Most of the time, this buddhi's relationship to the universe is the one of I don't know this one, I don't know that one. Whether you look at people, whether you look at objects, whether you look at all kinds of nouns, places, things, actions, verbs, relationships. The buddhi's relationship to most objects in the universe is I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. I'm yet to know. I'm yet to understand. I don't know, don't know, don't know, don't know. So, and with a few things the buddhi is, I know this. Yes. So with a few things the buddhi has a relationship of I know, and with a few other things, many other things, the buddhi becomes a non-knower in relation to certain things. Buddhi becomes knower in relation to certain things. But from the standpoint of the Atma, from the vision of where the Atma sits, don't ask, Atma can sit, just listen. So, from the vision of where the Atma stands, see, I changed it. So, from that standpoint, what do you have? You don't, the differences between what you know and what you don't know, forget you. What the buddhi knows and what the buddhi counts as not knowing are immaterial. Those differences do not matter. Because even to say I don't know, the buddhi's puranam has to take place by the Atma. The Atma has to bless the buddhi, whether the buddhi says I know or whether the buddhi says I don't know. Only a buddhi that is blessed by Atma in a particular way, meaning that the buddhi that is lit up by the presence of that eka prabodha, that single, non-dual, nitya consciousness, unchanging, non-negatable consciousness, alone can come to certain conclusions, and those conclusions are immaterial to the functioning of the Atma or even the functioning of the buddhi itself, because if you cognize something and say I know, I remember, or I don't know, I don't remember, you are still depending upon the Atma to both know and not know. So there is this single awareness that lights up the objects that are known to a buddhi, and that same awareness lights up the objects that are not known or not yet known to the buddhi. So from the buddhi's perspective, that is where one can feel bad. I don't know, I don't understand, how many times have I to learn this? A for apple, B for ball, C for cat, D for dog, lifetime after lifetime. Sitting in kindergarten, how many times have I to learn this? Samsara, when will it be over for me? These are all the questions. And it doesn't matter the nature of the question or the nature of the specific kind of ignorance, the ignorance of the object ignorance that you're dealing with. Because the subject who is cognizing the object ignorance is never ignorant. This is what is Nitya Upalabdhi Swarupa. Very beautiful. Oh, so I can fold up the notes. We pack up the bags, get out of class early, because what's the point of studying then? Because if I have all knowledge, and the ignorance of small things don't matter, then I should not need this. This is also an object of knowledge, correct? This Vedanta is also, an object. I am pursuing the Upanishad, which is an object. I am pursuing this, it's an object because it is written on a piece of paper and I am reading the words and I am cognizing them. And so what if I don't understand it? Because even when I don't understand it, what am I saying? I know I don't understand it. I know I didn't follow the last class, and I know I'm not following this class either. So some people can say this, and certain other people can say that if it really is immaterial, whether I study or don't study, because all there is this one monologue consciousness that doesn't let me get a word sideways, because even if I try to say I don't know, it shuts me up and says I know, janami. Not even janami. Jnanam, it broadcasts. It's got this, monologue. I know I am, and sometimes it says I know I am now I know I am, now I know. Now I am, I now am, I know I am now. It keeps saying that. And that's a deafening, what's that? Continuity. And so my little don't knows doesn't matter. So then why should I pursue this knowledge? There is a very difficult situation called anirmoksha prasanga. What is this anirmoksha prasanga? What is moksha? Freedom. Freedom from what? Let us just be very clear, Freedom from the notion of bondage. From the notion that I am bound. So, amoksha is non-freedom. Anirmoksha is again non-freedom, which doesn't do negatives here, don't make a positive. Anirmoksha, ni here is not negative, nishchaya. Definitely no moksha. Prasanga means the situation, the circumstances of there being no moksha will come, because what's the point of studying this? Because the I know is always there. Alongside I am. And so if I don't know who I am, so it shouldn't matter. Right? No, unfortunately. Why? That's why I said notion of bondage. There are two kinds of ignorances, in the universe. The first kind of ignorance is the kind of ignorance I just alluded to. It is called Tula Avidya. Tula Avidya means the ignorance of finite things in the universe. Finite I am adding. The ignorance of discrete objects in the universe is called Tula Ajnanam or Tula Avidya. I mean, you don't know so many things. That there is a valley of flowers. Oh, I don't know, I've not been there. That there is some cave in which there is a pool, a lake inside a cave which is very deep and 50 feet deep, and it's like a mirror and you can see your face, and it is somewhere there in Italy, some kind of a grotto. Oh, I didn't know that. That there is a fruit. Oh, fruit? Yeah, I know fruit. Phalam, karma phalam. No, it's a fruit. It's a fruit which is half plum and half apricot. It's got a name. What's its name? Pluot. Pluot. Confused fruit. Did you know that? Well, no, I didn't know that. So all these don't knows make up they come under the general rubric of what is called Tula Ajnanam, Tula Avidya. And they don't hurt how I live, They don't affect how I live unless it is a skill or an object or a significant other whose name I need to know and remember. Otherwise I get into trouble. You wake up the next morning and you say, I don't know who you are, and and it doesn't matter because this is Tula Vidya anyway. This is not good for relationships. So certain ignorances have, even within Tula Vidya, certain ignorances have to be taken care of. Some birthdays have to be remembered. Otherwise you get into trouble. You cannot say, this is just mundane avidya and who cares, every day is a birthday. You can't do that. Not if you have a family. Yeah. And so therefore, you have to remember certain things. But most of the things, if you do not remember, it's not the end of the world. Correct? Why, what will happen if you didn't know there was pluot? Oh, I didn't get to eat pluot. Or mangosteen. Do you know mangosteen? It's not mango. Mangosteen. It's a fruit which is really ultimately not worth it. Why? You know why? Now they're saying it has antioxidants with all these properties and people are just harvesting it out of existence, really. But, somebody gave me one when I was small, and by the time you open it, all the juice of the fruit is absorbed by the hands. It's a tiny little thing with a thick skin, and then it's like a little orange. Not that many segments, but small white segments which you have to remove and then eat. And of course inside the segment is the seed also. So then you can think of how little space is occupied by the fruit. It's only this big, comes in little bunches. So then by the time you open, you have to crack it open with your nails, and then you open it and then you take out the seed and everything, and all you have is just juice on your hands. You just lick your hands and say Namaha. That's it. So you didn't know mangosteen, not a big deal. You didn't know pluot, not a big deal. You didn't know what carnation was, whether milk powder or flower, not a big deal. Correct? Why? Because it's the knowledge of objects. Yeah. Then the second kind of ignorance is called Moola Avidya. Moola Ajnanam. Moola and Tula. Moola Ajnanam means what? Ignorance of the subject. Yeah. This is what causes problems. Ignorance of objects does not get me into samsara. Like I said, birthdays and anniversaries notwithstanding. Ignorance of objects does not get me into trouble, into samsara. But ignorance of the subject immediately drowns me in a hot vat of samsara. Not drowns, keeps me afloat in a hot vat of samsara, which is worse. The question is why? Aren't all ignorances the same? Why? Why they should be? Ignorance is ignorance. Not knowing is not knowing. I don't know pluot. I don't know this ought, I don't know this one. What's the difference? I don't know me. And then I don't know about pluot, mangosteen. What's the difference? Or Nilgai. You know Nilgai? Nilgai? You know Nilgai?
Antelope.
It's neither an antelope nor a cow, nor is it it's an exotic animal found in India. It's a half cow, half antelope and half bison or something like that. Very exotic. And it's got these doe-shaped eyes, long doe-shaped, the eyes of the deer. And, you didn't know that till now. She knew that, but many people didn't know that. And so, what happened? Nothing happened. Correct? So, what is the difference between not knowing Nilgai, mangosteen, pluot and not knowing I? Why is that the first one does not cause you to drop into the first ignorance does not cause samsara, whereas the second one does? Why? Because when I don't know Nilgai and I take it to be something else, there is no problem there. Actually, what I don't know, I cannot take it to be something else truthfully. If I don't know flower, I can't take it for something else. I can't mistake it for something else because I don't know it in the first place. But the I is immediately mistaken for something else. Why? Because I know I am. That I know I am doesn't go away. That is what is already there. Up till this much, everyone is safe. I know I am. Just don't ask the next question, who are you? That's when the fears and the tears flow. Correct? Oh, I wish I could tell you who I am. How much time you have? How are you? Oh, don't even ask how much time you got. First you tell me how much time you have. Because I have a long story. That's going to take all year. If you say that today, it's not a lot of time. I have a long story. Don't even ask. So, you see, there is a difference here. That I am, I know. But if I don't know what is the nature of this I am, then I immediately, because it is ardha vikasa almost, there is a half cognition. That I know is a partial cognition of the Atma. The Atma advertises itself as itself. But then, because I don't know who I am fully, I take myself to be what I am not. This is what is called anyatha grahanam. Yatha means what? Just as. Anyatha means not just as. Yeah. Ayatha grahanam also you can say. Ayatha, not as it is. So I mistake it for something else. And what is the example now which we have for mistaking something for what it is not? Rope snake. Rope is mistaken for snake. Atma is mistaken for a samsari. This is what is called anyatha grahanam. And the first one, Tula avidya, the non-understanding or the non-knowledge of discrete objects in the universe is called agrahanam, not grasping. So the not grasping never causes samsara. And that's the difference between the human beings and the animals. The dog will never say, please change the spelling of my name. Actually, it should be G-O-D. It will never tell you that. It will never say that. And at the same time, they don't seem to be in samsara. You may have dog samsara. The dog never says, I have people samsara. I have to take care of all these people. Oh, I'm so stressed out. I don't know what to do. All these people are there. Every day I have to bark and protect the territory. And these people, everybody is, coming and walking by. So many times I have to bark. I'm bored, because how much to bark? And what do I get for it? They just give dog food 2 times a day. And they buy flea collar. What's the use? The dog doesn't have a complex centered on the eye. Please understand this. Whereas the person has a complex centered on the eye. Because in the human being, this Moola avidya, because there is a certain vikasa, because the consciousness is fully flowered in the human beings, partially so in other programmed animals. Consciousness shines in the human mind without inhibition. Very little inhibition. Inhibition comes from one's own inhibitions, that's all. Not in the shine of consciousness. And so therefore the human being is the prime candidate, is the only candidate for this knowledge. So don't be in a hurry to shut off the books. Because this is a very deep thing that I know, and I know enough to say that I know enough to take myself to be what I am not. That's what it is. I'm not the body, but I say I'm as good as the body. I'm not the mind, but I say I'm as good as the mind. I'm not the senses, but I say I'm as good as the senses. I'm not my property, but I say I act as though I am my property. I'm not my loved ones, but I treat my loved ones as an extension of myself. This is what is the problem. And so this kind of a view of mistaking myself for what I am not is called adhyasa. Adhi, asa. Adhi plus asa, adhyasa. Asa means to throw, us to throw. Asaha, the throwing, the projection. Adhi means centered on. So centered on myself, there is adhyasa. And there are there are many kinds of adhyasa, but with regard to this, we'll discuss today two kinds of adhyasa. One is taking myself for what I am not. Finite, tired, samsari, very, very sorry, full of hurt, full of guilt. Taking Atma is any of those things? No. But I still say, I am all these things. Then the other kind of adhyasa is not taking myself to be what I am. Sat Chit Ananda. Both those problems are come under the rubric of Anyatha Grahanam. So when I take myself to be what I am not, I am also not owning up what I already am. And therefore, I make a strong case to finish studying this text. Because it's not that just because the Atma lights up equally in all minds, then it doesn't matter whether I know or not. That's true. But that's only true with regard to anatma objects. So Thula Avidya is anatma avidya, but not atma avidya. When the avidya, the ignorance is centered on the atma, then we have, we are in murky business. That has to be corrected immediately, because this mind is like a horse. It has so much horsepower to come to the wrong conclusion. It just takes off and never comes back with the wrong conclusion. And in fact, the wrong conclusions are so persistent that they still are there long after the life has gone, and then they find another body to occupy to continue having the same conclusions from piche wala life, the life before. What a life. Life after life after life. And then the person says, this looks very familiar. Because in the last life also same problem. And so therefore, this Atma Avidya is the only one that has to be corrected. Because the other one, when you correct, what happens? Anatma Avidya. Avidya about mangosteen, you corrected. What happened? Nothing happened. You are still the same. Correct? Okay. Then mangosteen known, something else is still unknown. Then that known, something else is unknown. Because the Jagat is vast. Finitely infinite is the Jagat. Where every single thing is finite, but because it has the DNA of Brahman, it is infinitely finite. Or finitely infinite. Both are true. And so how many things can you catalog in the Jagat? No? And then if you cannot completely, exhaustively catalog, in fact, exhaustively catalog means after being exhausted, you stop cataloging. That's the only thing. Exhausted. And sometimes you have, you look at the research done on, you take anything, dinosaurs. Let's take dinosaurs. Then you find that the first bones and the egg that was discovered somewhere in, New Mexico, many years ago, then that person, the scientist, died. And then his student took up all the things, and then somebody else took up. So it's going on for generations. And still they don't know. Now the latest thing is they did not have fur. They thought they had fur, they did not have fur. Now they are finding out, negating everything. That's another thing about Thula Avidya, is that it's not definite knowledge. It's finite knowledge of an indefinite nature. You can never say Nishchaya Jnanam, Nasti. Because as soon as you do Nishchaya in one area, somebody else can find out with new information, new technology, new pramanas, new ways of looking into it, and they will, deride your conclusions and bring out some other conclusions. Same thing when you study a language. How many words you can know? 2,200 root verbs. Yeah, but how many? Infinite verbal forms, infinite nominal forms, infinite adjectival forms. How are you going to? You can't exhaust everything. And so running to correct Thula Avidya is like a chimera. You run after something shiny and it looks wonderful. That is what the golden deer represents in the Ramayana. The desire for the finite which shines. And Sita says, there it goes. Oh, I'm sure it's made of it's got golden, spots. I'm sure it's real. Rama says there is no such thing as golden deer. Lakshmana also says, no, there is no golden deer. Look there through the bushes. And the deer flashes and goes and in and out of the light, and its body appears to have a golden sheen. And then what happens? You lose your mind over it. Yeah. Rama goes, and then, and the deer turns into a demon. Deer was not a deer. Deer turned into a demon very quickly. And then the deer mimics Rama's voice. The deer was a ventriloquist demon. Mimics Rama's voice and throws the voice into so that all the forest can hear. Sita! Why Sita? Balk at it. So, Sita! As though in anguish. And Sita says, Lakshmana, go! Rama is calling out, he is dying. Go save him. Lakshmana says, that's not my brother. He doesn't cry like that. But that's his voice, don't you agree? Yes, I better go. You see, this is what happens. Thula Vidya is a spoof. You keep going after it, and it just it's not going to satiate. It's not going to land you in trouble, but it's not going to remove the original source of dread, sorrow, fear. It's just going to make you exhausted and come back again and again to do what is needing to be done, which is remove Moola Ajnanam. But Moola Ajnanam is this distortion of myself which I do not understand fully. I understand it enough to know I know and I am, but I don't understand it to be the cause of this universe. And all my activities with regard to the Thula, the Thula things in the universe, with regard to Anatma, is to want to be whole, is to want to be complete. All the competition, all the pursuits, all of everything that I want is to be that whole. And this is what lands me into trouble. And so therefore I have to fix only one avidya, thank God, which is that Moola avidya. Atma avidya I have to fix. The other things, whether, that's why in every Upanishad, that knowledge, knowing which everything is as good as known, is repeatedly, encountered. Mundaka Upanishad, and Chandogya Upanishad, Kathopanishad to a certain extent, Anyatra Dharma, Anyatra Adharma, that which crosses Dharma, Adharma, that which is neither finite, neither the past nor the future. Please tell me that. Chandogya Upanishad, what is that one thing knowing which everything is as good, as well known? Mundaka Upanishad, same thing. What is that one thing I have to know? And that one thing that liberates is knowing what is told in the 7th verse. That, namely, the lighting up of the mind with this all-pervasive consciousness, like the sun, is not sequential. It is simultaneous, and without that light, which I call the truth of myself, undergoing any change at all. So it's not a sequential lighting up, neither is there a chronological lighting up starting from the most dharmic to the least dharmic person. No. All the buddhis are lit up. Even the buddhis which says, I don't know myself, is lit up with a knowing of I don't know myself. And in fact, when you get that light, that cognition, I don't know myself, and I think I know that I don't know myself, I have to head to a guru. I have to go guru shopping now. When that thought comes, it is called a very Shubha thought. Shubha means auspicious. It's an auspicious cognition. And why is it an auspicious cognition? Because that is the last cognition, before gaining the knowledge, really, before heading over to gain the knowledge. I think the problem is here, the problem is not with the objects, with the subject. So finally I own up, because otherwise, it's very tempting, and most people think of it as a lifestyle to blame everyone else and everything else, because otherwise you just blame the things in the universe. If only this person did not cut me out, I would have a better thing. If only my parents had raised me well, I would have had, better luck. If only karma, then we know some few things about karma. If only karma had been kinder, I would not be languishing here. Look at that person with such bad attitude, how famous they have become. Look at me. I do all the dharmic things and he gets the promotion. This is how people think. So you blame the karma, and then you get even more enlightened to know there is Bhagavan, then you blame the giver of the karma. This Bhagavan also, has given me a bad lot. So finally, when the fingers are tired of pointing everywhere, come and rest here. That is the very auspicious moment, because then there is hope. Here is not self-blame, but taking responsibility for my ignorance. There's nothing to feel bad. Everybody comes out of ignorance. But that, that emergence is re-emerging into the truth of my own self. So it's a very, auspicious moment. And that's why in India, whenever you see the river turning back to its source, it becomes a place of pilgrimage and worship. Because that is what we have to do. Turn back to our source. That is the final source, the only resource, the only recourse. There is nothing other than that. Beautiful. This is what one has to do. So we'll read the 8th one and pick it up day after tomorrow. Vivasvat prabhatam yatha rupamaksham pragrinhati nabhatamevam vivasvan yadabhate आभासयत्यक्षमेकः स नित्योपलब्धिस्वरूपोऽहमात्मा. Yeah, so we will stop here. We have Kathopanishad in a little while. No, not Kathopanishad. Shvetashvatara Upanishad at 6 o'clock. And then 7 o'clock we have japa, half an hour of japa for New Year's Eve. This is the time to pray for oneself, one's own health, the health of loved ones, the health of the universe. And so please attend if you are able to. So 7 to 7:30 we will do japa. Just Om Namah Shivaya we will do for half an hour and finish with an arati. Okay? Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamadachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Yeah, very good. Yoga Kshema, gaining what we have and protecting what we have. Correct. Okay, I will see you all shortly. Oh.